Hello everyone, welcome to my show. I'm Sapo Morano and I'll be your host for today. Today I'm going to tell you about my season of failing. Most of us have gone through difficulties, and for me, my my biggest season of failing was between 2016 and 2020. I was fresh out of high school, and this time was quite difficult for me. I had to learn a lot of things. I had to learn, get scammed, fall. There are a lot of mistakes that I made along the way. So the first one is CSIR. Believe it or not, regardless of how smart I am, I got rejected for CSIR funding when I was at the University of Cape Town twice. So the first time I applied for funding at CSIR, that was in 2016, early 2016. And I applied, I pleaded with them, I shared my matric results, and I did fairly okay because I got into ECT for electrical and computer engineering, but I got no feedback. It was just an outright rejection. The second time I got rejected for CSIR funding was in 2017. I tried applying again because I felt like my academics were doing a bit better. They might give me a better chance this time, but it was a complete fail. There was no feedback. There was nothing. No work from CSIR the administrators at CSIR. The second one here that I'll be discussing is We Think Code. So when I was at varsity, I got more interested in coding, specifically software development. So when I was varsity, my majors were electrical engineering, computer science, and electronics engineering. But uh, I was more curious about computer science, specifically the software development part of computer science. So I thought to myself, if I enrolled in a program where I'll just code and learn the core basics of building enterprise applications, then I'll be able to build my any product that I want much quicker. So that's why I decided to apply for With and Code. I did those challenges that they offered. I completed them, but there was no feedback from them. Absolutely no feedback. I didn't even know if I did well. I did terribly. They didn't give any sort of feedback. I did that again in 2018. I mean, in 2017, the following year. I was still at varsity, by the way. Completed my challenges, did everything. They just outright rejected me with no reason whatsoever. So that stung a bit, but I started getting a sense that sometimes in life you'll get rejected and there'll be no sort of explanation as to why you were rejected. You just need to learn to deal with it. It happens a lot, especially for people who are unemployed youth who are looking for jobs. I'm sure you've experienced this, where you apply and apply and there's just no response, or they respond 12 months later. So yeah, at this point, I was starting to get a hang of it. That these type of things do happen, and I need to learn to live with them. The third point, this one quite stung because there's a couple of things that I'll discuss here. But yeah, I got rejected to Alpha Code twice because in 2018, that's when I decided not to go to school to focus on building my startup, and I applied for Alpha Code. In 2018, it wasn't Alpha Code as we knew it. So it was combined with Explore Data Science Academy. So in order for you to be accepted for Alpha Code, you'd have to enroll for Explore Data Science Academy. So I applied for that. I was at home at the time, living at home with my parents. I had to take a taxi to come to Johannesburg, go to the interview in Johannesburg for Explore Data Science, and they just completely rejected me. I didn't go to the next phase. They didn't tell me what was wrong. They didn't tell me whether or not. They didn't give me any sort of feedback, and I spent so much money, so much time, so much effort leaving home in Limpopo, staying at my brother's place to go to head to Johannesburg for the interview. So that was quite painful, but we live and we move on. And yeah, and because of that, failing that interview for Explore Data Science Academy, I couldn't get into Alpha Code, the program for businesses, the business incubation program called Alpha Code. But that was 2018. In 2017, I tried applying again for Alpha Code, but things were a bit better this time. I was shortlisted. I was in the top 32 of applicants, out of I think 200 plus applicants. So things were looking up now. So yeah, I applied. They accepted me. They liked my business idea, but I couldn't go to the next phase. Believe it or not, they gave funding to people who had no product whatsoever. There were a couple of people that I met there who were just in ideation phase. They were just talking about an idea. They haven't done actual work on the idea, or they don't have a tangible product. And they received funding when they went to the next stage. Unfortunately, my startup didn't get funding. It stung because this was the second time in a row. But I kept on pressing on. I think the most difficult thing about this getting rejected by Alpha Code, apart from it being twice in a row, was because I'd committed so much energy and effort into my startup. I've literally left university to build it, and this was just a stab in the heart. It was quite a difficult pill to swallow, but I ended up just um, accepting. But yeah, I remember when the top applicants, when they went to the next round, the guys who got the funding, one of them was actually my friend at the time, and I had to be happy for him. I was genuinely happy for him. I didn't understand why this was happening, but I was genuinely happy because I looked at it this way: things happen in seasons. Sometimes it's not your season, you know. And while it's not your season, it's in you're in a season of waiting or failing. Be happy for others, so that when your time comes, your loved ones at least can cheer you on. But if you don't do good, you won't receive good. So yeah, although I didn't understand why that was the case, I supported him. I didn't change the way I treated him. I continued to be polite, to be friendly. But yeah, this was quite a sting. And on to the next one, Tsimulong. So when I was building my business, I went to Tsimulong to inquire on how they can assist my business grow, what type of assistance they can offer. Can they offer funding? Can they offer mentorship? Can they offer any sort of programs? Or can they offer, a network of investors that I can talk to? So they convinced me that they have all those things. They can help me take my business to the next level. So the catch was that I need to use their office space in order to get exposure to the ecosystem. And I did just that. I guess I was a bit naive, but now I know that if you have to pay for it upfront, it's probably not something that you want to be participating in. If someone asks you to take out money first before you can get benefits of any sort that are business related or related to a job, it's probably something that you don't want to participate in. But I did that. I, signed a contract that I'll be using the office space, hoping that at some point they'll be able